Christmas Eve. The Mario Kart series is by far Nintendo's biggest moneymaker, being the best-selling game on most consoles since its inception. And due to prior obligations, I have to play through every single game in the series that released on Nintendo consoles tonight, so yeah. What makes Mario Kart so unbelievably popular? Well, it's just really easy for most people to play and understand the concept. There's not much to grasp in terms of core gameplay. You're an Italian man in a go-kart. What's not to understand? There's several different colorful courses, characters that aren't Italian, and a ton of items to really shake things up. That just appeals to literally everybody. I don't really think I need to explain what Mario Kart is, since I'm pretty positive everyone who is watching this video knows the general idea, so that paragraph is all I'll say. Although I think it would be really funny if this is the first time someone is exposed to Mario Kart. You're an Italian man in a go-kart. What's not to understand? What? There's 9 what I would call mainline entries in the series, and this means that none of the Mario Kart arcade games or my arch nemesis will be covered in this video, thankfully. So I'll be talking about, in order, Super Mario Kart, Mario Kart 64, Mario Kart Super Circuit, Mario Kart Double Dash, Mario Kart DS, Mario Kart Wii, Mario Kart 7, Mario Kart 8/8 Deluxe, and Mario Kart World. So let's get this race started with... We're starting off with Super Mario Kart, the Mario Kart series' humble beginnings. Oh, I'm sorry, Mario Kart's super beginnings. It's in the name. And yeah, you can definitely tell that this is the first game in the series. Obviously, visually, it's objectively aged. I still like the style though, and this game has some really nice sprite work. Anyway, Super Mario Kart originally released on September 1st, 1992, and is the 4th highest selling Super NES game after Super Mario World, Super Mario All-Stars, and Donkey Kong Country. It's nearly impossible to state how influential this game was and still is, so I won't even bother trying because I'm lazy. This game has a smaller roster, especially compared with the later entries, having only 8 total, obviously due to hardware limitations. Mario, Luigi, Peach, Toad, Bowser, Yoshi, and Koopa Troopa are all your standard Mario Kart fare. Then we have the odd one, Donkey Kong Jr. Not just standard DK, but DK Jr. It's weird. Apparently it was to coincide with the 10th anniversary of that game, as well as it would be more easy to distinguish like what the back of him would look like with a shirt on. Everybody has the same cart, so there's no selection there. So that's the end of this section. There are a total of 20 courses in the game, almost all with very similar themes to each other. So in my opinion, it's a waste of time to discuss each one individually like I'll do with the later game. So many of them look basically the exact same that I would have to discuss different turns if I wanted to talk about literally anything. But there's 8 different themes, being Mario Circuits, Donut Plains, Choco Islands, Ghost Valleys, Koopa Beaches, Vanilla Lakes, Bowser's Castles, and Rainbow Road. And the names don't leave much to be questioned. Mario Circuit is a generic racetrack, Donut Plains are plains, Koopa Beach is a beach, and so on. And for a first Mario Kart lineup, it's decent enough. None of the courses really made much of an impression on me though, probably due to the repetitive theming. And I know that was due to hardware limitations at the time, you don't have to tell me that. Now I've mainly neglected to mention Rainbow Road, the final course in the game, and it's alright I guess, it does a decent job at being the very first Rainbow Road. Unfortunately, the racing controls themselves aren't great in my opinion. I've heard it's better when you play on an actual Super Nintendo, but I don't have one of those, so what am I supposed to do? Except complain about it, obviously. It's just not great. Both of the 2D Mario Karts haven't really aged the best in my opinion, and they kind of hurt my eyes to look at, and yeah, maybe I'm just weak, so what? Super Mario Kart actually includes Battle Mode, which surprises me. I figured that would have been a later addition to the series, like 64 or something, but no, it was here from the start. Although it makes complete sense, just look at this game's layout. Half the screen is taken up by a map, which is replaced with a second player screen if you're playing in multiplayer. This game was truly designed around that multiplayer. There's only one battle mode to choose from, being Balloon Battle. The 4 arenas are all iterative of the courses in the game. Battle Course 1 is Donut Plains, 2 is Koopa Beach, 3 is Vanilla Lake, and 4 is Mario Circuit. The items are what truly makes Mario Kart Mario Kart. The first game has a decent selection of them, I guess. We have basically all of the standard items you've come to expect in the series. Banana peels, green and red shells, mushrooms, stars, and lightning. A few odder additions are the Boo, which has become fairly standard nowadays, Feather, same story, Fireball, Egg, and Poison Mushroom. The weird thing is that the fireball and poison mushroom can only be used by specific characters, but only when they're being controlled by CPUs, not the actual players. That's odd. There's time trials, which allows you to see how quickly you can clear a course, and that's pretty much all there is to say about Super Mario Kart. And I don't think it has aged the best, personally. It's a fine game overall, especially for the time it was released and the immense impact that it had, but unfortunately there just isn't really much of a reason to revisit it nowadays outside of novelty, nostalgia, or just seeing where the series began, which I guess is novelty. I'm dumb. Now it's time to move on to the next Mario Kart game. I think we skipped a few. Despite what the name may lead you to believe, Mario Kart 64 is only the second game in the series, and it is the one I have easily played the least of prior to this video. I've played more Mario Kart Live home circuit than this game. I've just never really had much major interest in playing this game. From all I've seen, it's just the most Mario Kart looking Mario Kart to ever Mario Kart. There's only really two major additions that this game added, being 3D environments and the blue shell. Wow. Sorry for being so pessimistic. I just know I've got about 1 trillion more Mario Kart games to play after this one, and I'm really dreading it. So let's begin my first real playthrough of Mario Kart 64. The character roster is the exact same size as Super Mario Kart's, however a couple of characters were replaced. Donkey Kong Jr. was rightfully axed in favor of everyday normal Donkey Kong, although actually in early builds he was replaced by Kamek. That's bizarre. And Koopa Troopa was replaced by the GOAT, Wario. And that's the roster and really not much to talk about. This is the main Mario cast in the mid-90s. We have 16 courses here, which is fewer than Super Mario Kart, but each course is way more distinct and interesting here, so I think it's a decent trade-off. Starting off the Mushroom Cup, we have Luigi Raceway. This is a standard racing course. I mean, yeah, you've gotta have one. The most memorable part, in my opinion, is the screen that shows you, like, your actual gameplay. Moo Moo Farm is a farm with cows. Put your shocked expressions in the comments in 3, 2, 1. Koopa Troopa Beach has this Koopa Troopa rock formation thing that I don't think is natural. But other than that, it's just a standard beach. I like Calamari Desert though because there's a train which makes it stick out a lot compared to the other desert courses in the Mario Kart series. It does that a lot more than you would think actually. It is just a train, but that's more than Dry Desert has going for it. The Flower Cup starts with Toad's Turnpike, which is a road with cars as obstacles. My least favorite obstacles in the series, to be honest. I just think they're kind of annoying to avoid. Also Toad owns this for some reason. It's his turnpike. Frappe Snowland gives me extreme claustrophobia. That's all I have to say about it. Choco Mountain is a brown mountain that I can assume is made of chocolate, but you know what happens when you assume. You make an assumption. And Mario Raceway is very similar to Luigi Raceway in that it's a generic go-kart track. No screen this time. Wario Stadium is the first course in the Star Cup, and it just goes on for way too long. But hey, I get to stare at Wario's face for a good amount of it, thankfully. Sherbetland has penguins and stuff, okay. Royal Raceway is simple, but you get to drive up to the castle, which is really cool because it's pointless. There's not a shortcut here or anything, I don't think. Bowser's Castle is eerie. The music combined with the cage thwomp, like, what did he do? I have chills, but it's also really cold right now, so maybe that's why, and I'm lying about it being really cold because I'm under my blanket and I'm sweating right now. The final cup of the game is the Special Cup, and it starts with DK Jungle Parkway. It's fine, it's a jungle track with a river in the middle. The music, though, is extremely repetitive. Yoshi Valley is the most confusing course in the game and possibly the series with so many different paths. The game itself can't even keep track of who's in first sometimes. Banshee Boardwalk is basically a 3D Ghost Valley but with fish, and Rainbow Road is really cool, but it just goes on for way too long, just like Wario Stadium. And those are the courses. It's a good selection for the most part, with some extremely mediocre ones like Wario Stadium in there as well. You've got to have painful tracks sometimes. The game controls fine, I guess. It's better than Super Mario Kart, that's for sure, but you can definitely still tell that this is the second game in the series. For old items, there's the green shell, red shell, mushroom, banana, star, lightning, and boo. New items are the triple versions of the green and red shells and mushrooms. It's exactly what it sounds like. You get 3 items instead of 1. The Super Mushroom lets you mash the item button for an amount of time to get speed boosts. Basically, infinite mushrooms. The fake item box is also exactly what it sounds like. A fake item box that you throw on the ground to trick your opponents, and if they run into it, they spin out. The Banana Bunch is basically the banana version of the triples from a few seconds ago, but instead of 3, it's 5. And the biggest addition is the Spiny Shell, an item that targets specifically whoever is in first place. This is the most iconic item in the series just due to how rage-inducing it is. Although the name makes absolutely zero sense because this is a Spiny and that's not blue. So fans have just resorted to calling it the Blue Shell, which, okay, I mean, they even did that in the movie. So it's kind of official, kind of not. I don't really know. I personally call it the Blue Shell when I'm talking about it in real life, which is an everyday occurrence. But for this video, I'm going to call it the Spiny Shell to seem like I know more than I do. Battle mode is back, and it's basically the same as it was in Super Mario Kart. Obviously in 3D here. Wow, okay, sure, cool, neat, nice, amazing, stunning, spectacular, sweet, good, awesome. Time trials return alongside versus mode for the first time. This is just playing whatever course you want whenever you want to. So I don't have to go through the Grand Prix to play Wario Stadium, I guess. I don't know why I keep mentioning Wario Stadium. I think it's just funny to mention because that course is not very good. The time trials are unsavable in all re-releases due to the way data is saved. I'm too dumb to explain it, but you're only able to record them on the N64. So if you want proof that you suck at Yoshi Valley, get your camera ready. And that's Mario Kart 64. It's a good basic Mario Kart, but that's it. It's not really that interesting in my opinion. I mean, sure, it's a prehistoric title being the first one in 3D, but okay, I'm 3D too. It doesn't have an amazing gimmick or anything, nor are the tracks that, noteworthy in my opinion. They're good, yes, but other games have way better ones. Anyway, Anyway, that's it for Mario Kart 64. One quick thing I want to preface before I get to this game. I wanted to get some cover art printed here to put in this case, but every single time I tried, it would end up being the wrong size, even when I manually typed in the correct dimensions. So you're just going to have to deal with the microscopic Japanese cartridge, unfortunately. Mario Kart Super Circuit was the first portable entry in the franchise, and it's crazy to me that handheld Mario Kart went from this to this in like 20 years. Of course, since this game is running on a more underpowered device, it isn't going to have the best visuals. So we're back to a more Super Mario Kart-esque style here. 2D sprites on weird, not 3D kind of 3D courses. Although the sprites are much more reminiscent of the ones from 64 rather than Super. One last note before we get into this game, I'm playing the Japanese version like I said earlier, because it was significantly cheaper on eBay. Like $10 compared to about $30. I know, super significant. Other than the game being in Japanese, as far as I can tell, it's identical to the North American version. Mario Kart Super Circuit released on August 27th, 2001 in North America, and is the 4th best-selling Game Boy Advance game after a bunch of Pokemon nonsense. A weird thing about this game is that the developer was not the regular Mario Kart team. No, instead it was Intelligent Systems, the people behind games like Fire Emblem, WarioWare, and Paper Mario. Same parents, by the way. Super weird that they outsourced it this time, although I guess it kinda makes sense. The next game, Double Dash, was a huge step up in terms of graphics to 64, so a longer development time was more than likely needed. Although this is just 100% speculation, and I don't know if that's the case. The roster is completely identical to Mario Kart 64's. Kinda disappointing there's not a single new character because this would be the game to add somebody completely random and insane. But oh well, it was 2001, not much I can do about it now. There's 20 courses in the game. April Fools. There's actually 40, but the 20 other courses are just remakes of every single course from Super Mario Kart. That is pretty insane. So I guess you don't really need this anymore. I won't be discussing those because A, they're annoying to unlock, and B, they're basically the same as the originals, which I also didn't really discuss. The only interesting thing, I guess, is that they're reorganized kind of, since there's only 4 courses per cup now instead of 5, but okay. I don't know an ounce of Japanese because language is measured in ounces, so I'll be going off of this list on the Mario Wiki. The first course of the Mushroom Cup is Peach Circuit. It's a standard circuit track, not much to say here. I like Shy Guy Beach. For the most part, yeah, it's just a beach. Wow. But I'm a fan of the Shy Guy pirate ship in the background. I wish it was real. Riverside Park is a jungly course by a river, I guess. It's alright. And the cup ends with Bowser Castle 1. This game has a lot of Bowser castles, so beware. It's fine. Flower Cup starts with Mario Circuit. Guess what it's like? Boo Lake is basically just a reimagined Ghost Valley from Super Mario Kart. Also, there's no lake, not a drop of water. Cheese Land is certainly a land of cheese, not much to say here either. And Bowser Castle 2 is a Bowser Castle 2. Get it? Luigi Circuit starts the Lightning Cup and it has rain. That's the only interesting thing about it. I wonder if this is supposed to symbolize that Luigi's depressed or something. Sky Garden is essentially just a road on the clouds with like vines and stuff. Cheap Island is just a standard beach. No Shy Guy Pirates here, so it's worse. And Sunset Wilds would be fairly unremarkable if not for the sun actually setting throughout the course of the course. Starts at dusk and then it gets darker and darker, ending at nighttime. Neat. Hopefully they don't ruin that the next time they bring it back. Snowland's a pretty nice track, although the ground shakes a lot for some reason. Ribbon Road is kind of cool. It's a road made of ribbon at like a birthday party or something. Yoshi Desert implies that Yoshi was an ancient Egyptian pharaoh. Other than the terrifying lore, it's just a desert. And Bowser Castle 3 is a Bowser Castle 3. The Special Cup starts with Lakeside Park, which is basically just Riverside Park again, but with a volcano. Broken Pier is just Boo Lake again, basically. Bowser Castle 4 is a Bowser Castle 4, and Rainbow Road is okay. I'm terrible at this one, but there's this kind of fun gimmick where almost every ledge has these bouncy platforms. So it's possible for anyone but me to do some crazy shortcuts. And those are all of the non-recycled courses in Mario Kart Super Circuit. They're fine, I guess. I'm definitely more of a fan of these than Super Mario Karts because while they're kind of repetitive, they don't even come close to Super Mario Kart's repetitiveness. Except for when it comes to Bowser Castles, which let me say something, I'm not wrong when I say Bowser Castle. That's what it's called in the game, not Bowser's Castle. I'm not really sure why it's like that, but again, it was 2001, so there's not much I can do. Battle mode is only available with 2 players, and since that requires 2 Game Boy Advances with a link cable, I'm out of luck. Darn. There's 11 items here with none being new. The mushroom, green shell, red shell, the triple varieties of them, banana, spiny shell, boo, star, and lightning. A decent yet extremely basic selection. The only slightly interesting one is the boo. Time trials is as you'd expect, and we've also got 2 other modes that are basically the same, Quick Run and Versus. The only difference is that Versus is only in multiplayer. I'm not sure why it isn't just the same mode. Both allow you to play any course you want with the ability to change the rules a bit. And that's Mario Kart Super Circuit. I know this segment is a lot shorter, but it is the first handheld Mario Kart, so there's not much to say. And I don't think it's that bad. It's definitely the better of the 2 2D games, at least in my opinion. Obviously there's better games and better portable games at that, but I'd honestly say it's worth checking out. Just buy the Japanese cartridge if you really want to play it, or just like play it on Switch Online or something, I don't know. Or don't play it, maybe you just shouldn't play it. I don't know, just do whatever you want.
Oh yeah!
I don't really have much to say about Mario Kart Double Dash other than the initial reveal of this game as Mario Kart for GameCube is pretty funny looking. It's literally just the Super Smash Bros. Melee models of Mario and Luigi in the most generic looking go-karts you've ever seen. I mean, sure, I guess that works. Obviously, this game tries to do things a little bit differently this time around. Instead of 1 character per kart, there's 2. In practice, it honestly doesn't really change up the gameplay too much. Yes, it's probably the most unique Mario Kart so far, but at the same time, the only big difference is that I can now easily see Luigi's nose. Mario Kart Double Dash initially released on November 17th, 2003 and is the 2nd highest selling game on the GameCube, behind Super Smash Bros. Melee. It's like if you use Super Smash Bros. Melee models in any way, you are bound to be a success on the GameCube. The box art has the L on Luigi's hat backwards for some reason. Everybody that talks about this game online mentions this, so who am I to go against tradition? I have no idea how this managed to slip past the many people that had to approve stuff like this. It's just one of those fun facts that you have to mention. Just like, did you know that Super Mario Bros. 2 is actually a reskin of a Japanese-only game called Obviously, since this game has 2 characters per kart, you're going to need more characters. This game has by far the most characters in the series so far at a whopping 20, and most of them are completely new to the series. Everyone from Super Circuit is back, and Koopa Troopa returns from Super Mario Kart. Our 11 newcomers are Birdo, Daisy, Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, Paratroopa, Diddy Kong, Bowser Jr., Waluigi, Petey Piranha, King Boo, and Toadette, who is completely new to the franchise. Sure, Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, and Paratroopa all kind of feel like cop-outs, but everyone else feels like they completely deserve to be here. 4 of them are unlockable, being Petey Piranha, King Boo, Toad for some reason, and Toadette. No idea why Toad was made unlockable. That's a weird choice considering he was there from the start in every other game, and he's just kind of a boring character to be unlockable. I don't know. This game actually introduces more than just the standard pipe frame kart, so now you get to choose what you drive. Okay, I usually just go with the most standard kart personally. Still a good feature and would become a staple in the later game. So this game has by far the best roster so far, and it's not even close. There's 16 courses in total, just like Mario Kart 64. One thing I really enjoy is that some of these courses are clearly part of the same greater location. Like on Peach Beach, you can see Daisy Cruiser in the background, and on Rainbow Road, you can see Mushroom City. I really like this, and it makes things feel more realistic, I guess. The Mushroom Cup kicks things off with Luigi Circuit, and yes, this is a regular old racecourse track. There's a part where you're driving past people going in the other direction, which is kinda cool, I guess. Next is Peach Beach, a very traditional beach-themed course. Although with this game releasing not long after Super Mario Sunshine, this track takes heavy inspiration from that game. The most obvious thing being the cataquacks, which are scattered everywhere on this beach section. One of the most infamous tracks in the entire series is next, Baby Park. I kind of get why people like this one, at least to an extent, but guys, it's literally just an oval. Sure, that brings a lot more chaos with tons and tons of items going everywhere, but I don't really know. It's just kind of there to me. Dry Desert is a generic desert course for the most part. The only noteworthy section in my opinion is the sinkhole, and as someone who doesn't really care for generic desert courses, this is definitely one of the worst in the entire game. At least to me, just due to the theming. Ironically enough, Mushroom Bridge is not part of the Mushroom Cup. It is instead the first course of the Flower Cup. It's a way more unique take on a city-themed track being on an island next to the city rather than in the center of it. It's pretty good, and I like bridges in games for some reason. Mario Circuit is fairly basic. There's a chain chomp. Daisy Cruiser is a pretty good course, even though I think Daisy is extremely annoying. As the name implies, it takes place on a cruise ship. That's a really cool location for a Mario Kart track. Waluigi Stadium is another great track, albeit my least favorite of the Waluigi courses in the series. It definitely feels like a dirt bike arena or something. The Star Cup begins with Sherbet Land. No, not the one in Mario Kart 64, even though they have the exact same name. The course is okay, I guess. Mushroom City is more of what you'd expect from a city track. I like that it takes place at night, though. Yoshi Circuit would be a pretty good track, yes, but completely unremarkable. However, the course itself is in the shape of a Yoshi. It doesn't really make that big of a difference in terms of the gameplay, but it's a really cool touch that gives this course something interesting to talk about. DK Mountain is a fairly good track. Just a jungle mountain course, which I'm sure you could gather from the name alone. And for some reason, the mountain volcano thing is angry. The final cup, the special cup, Wario Coliseum is a huge track, and because of that, it's only 2 laps long. It's pretty good, I guess. Dino Jungle is once again another jungle track, but this one obviously has dinosaurs in it. They make for some pretty interesting obstacles, and there's this cave section that I kind of like. Of course, our second to last track is Bowser's Castle. I honestly don't really have many thoughts on this one. It's a Bowser's Castle. And what do you know? It's Rainbow Road for the final track in the game. This one is definitely called the Road, the Rainbow Road. It's pretty good, although I am terrible at it. And those are all of the courses in Mario Kart Double Dash. That's a really good selection, but since I've been spoiled by the later games, I can't help but wish there were more. 16 is a fine amount. I just feel like I'd get bored of them fairly quickly. The driving controls took me a bit to get used to since they're a little slippery, but I managed. The main thing that tripped me up was the drifting. Unlike in later games where you just hold in a single direction, you have to go back and forth on the thumbstick. It just took me a little bit to get used to after only playing games from Mario Kart Wii and beyond. Battle mode has 3 options this time, 2 of them being brand new. The standard balloon battle alongside Shine Thief and Bomb Blast. Shine Thief is pretty cool. Basically, there's a shine sprite available on the map, and whenever someone gets it, a timer counts down. And once the timer is finished, whoever has the shine sprite wins. The Bomb Blast involves terrorism. Blow everyone up to get stars, which are basically just points. Mario Kart Double Dash does something interesting with the items, giving characters their own items that only they can use. For the item that everyone has at their disposal, there's the green shell, red shell, and spiny shells, mushrooms, triple mushrooms, bananas, the fake item box, stars, and lightning. The special character specific ones are the fireballs for Mario and Luigi. They spread out and are able to hit multiple people. Mario has red ones, Luigi has green ones. Peach and Daisy have the heart, which lets them steal any items used against them, which is pretty wild. The eggs used by Yoshi and Birdo are simple projectiles, much like the shell. The thing that sets them apart, though, is that items will come out of the eggs after they break. The chain chomp pulls Baby Mario and Baby Luigi forward rapidly, basically a precursor to the bullet bill. The triple green and red shells are exclusive to the Koopa Troopas. Kinda weird that went from normal to special, but okay. The golden dash mushroom was also regular and is now special, only usable by Toad and Toadette. The giant banana is as the name implies, it's just a big banana. Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong obviously use it. Bowser's shell is basically just a giant green shell, and the Bomb is exclusive to Wario and Waluigi. I know they like to perform mischief, but this is just borderline terrorism. King Boo and Petey Piranha can use any of the special items. I guess they gave up here. Like, why not give King Boo the Boo from previous games or something? I don't know. The standard time trials and versus are here. One new thing they added here and only here is the All Cup Tour, which is technically part of the regular racing, but I felt like mentioning it here and I also forgot earlier. As the name suggests, it's where you play through every course in order. That's neat. I wish they brought that back. Obviously, you don't need a dedicated thing to do that in other games, but I liked having it here. And that's all I have to say on Mario Kart Double Dash. It's a really good game. I just wish there was a bit more content. Like, one more cup would have heavily benefited this game, but at the same time, it doesn't really need it. I really like having the 2 exclamation marks in the title as a reference to the 2 characters. That's fun. This is a rare instance of a classic Mario Kart game actually being worth revisiting outside of novelty, in my opinion. It has really good tracks and a cool gimmick that doesn't make things too different to be intimidating, but just interesting enough to be fun. Wait for it to come to Switch Online. Don't pay $70 for it like I did, or you can just like do whatever you want. You know what I mean by that. The Mario Kart DS game is Mario Kart for the Nintendo DS, which is short for the Nintendo Dual Screen, Developer System, or Nothing depending on who you're talking to. It is a game where you pick from a selection of various different characters from throughout the Mario franchise and race on a wide variety of colorful courses and use a vast range of items to slow down your opponents. Whoever comes in first wins. The Mario Kart DS game for the Nintendo DS family of systems released on November 14th, 2005 AD in the North American region. The Mario Kart DS game for the Nintendo DS family of systems is the 3rd best-selling game on said system after the New Super Mario Bros. And Nintendogs games. In all seriousness, I don't have much to say about this game in the opening segment. It's basically just more Mario Kart. I guess there's a few noteworthy things about it. It's the first fully 3D portable game and the first fully 3D normal Mario Kart, because Double Dash I don't really count as normal. And it was also the first to have online. That's bizarre to me. The first online Mario Kart game was on a handheld. It obviously doesn't work anymore, but hey, it was a fun fact while it lasted. Mario Kart DS has a total of 12 playable characters, 4 of which being unlockable. The 8 base characters are the same ones from 64 and Super Circuit, which makes sense. The unlockables are Waluigi and Daisy, who are both back from Double Dash, Dry Bones, and Rob, the NES accessory. Okay, that's kind of cool, but incredibly weird. Shy Guy also makes his Mario Kart debut here, but only in multiplayer for some reason. This is probably one of, if not the strangest lists of newcomers in the entire series. The karts are okay, there's multiple to choose from again, which is the standard now. Mario Kart DS introduces retro courses, remakes of courses from previous entries. This doubles the amount in the game from 16 to 32. Yes, Super Circuit did bring back previous courses, but those were just all of the ones from Super Mario Kart, not a selection from every game beforehand. Just know that I probably won't spend too much time on any of the retro courses because, for the most part, they're incredibly similar to their previous incarnations, just modified to match the rest of the game's art style as well as so they actually work. The Mushroom Cup begins with Figure 8 Circuit. Guess what shape the track is in? Unless I state otherwise, just assume that whenever it's a generic circuit track, it's a generic circuit track. Yoshi Falls is okay. It's kind of boring though, since it's basically just a circle. There's a giant Yoshi egg in the middle. Cheap Cheap Beach is a beach. What? It's got a good bit of visual variety though, having this pier at the start and a forest at the end. That's neat. Luigi's Mansion is awesome, obviously being based on that one game. I wish more of it took place in the actual mansion though. It feels like you're on the outside for the most part. Still a really cool track and one of my personal favorites from the series. Desert Hills is the first course of the Flower Cup and it's okay. Just a basic desert with elements from Super Mario Bros. 3 like the Angry Sun. I really like Delfino Square. It's obviously based on Delfino Plaza from Super Mario Sunshine. Just a nice little town course. I like it. And Waluigi Pinball is awesome. You are in a giant pinball machine and you have to avoid the pinballs. There's also this really creepy giant Waluigi statue. That's awesome and that's really cool. Shroom Ridge is just meh. It's a road by a cliff with cars. Okay. DK Pass is fine. The first course of the Star Cup, DK Pass, is fine. It's a snowy mountain, but I don't get what it has to do with Donkey Kong. Tick-Tock Clock is pretty cool. It's based on that atrocious level in Mario 64, but it's actually good here. Mario Circuit is fine. I like Airship Fortress. It's cool, but man is it overrated. Again, it's great and all, I just don't get the outcry of support it gets constantly. The first course of the Special Cup is Wario Stadium, and it's better than its N64 uncle, I guess. It's just more exciting. Less Wario face texture on the wall is definitely a disappointment though. Peach Gardens is nice, just a pleasant little garden thing by a castle with a chain chomp that makes it not so pleasant. And Bowser's Castle does the Bowser's Castle thing and is a Bowser's Castle. There's this rotating log rod thing that's kind of neat, I guess, but that's the only part I really remember. And Rainbow Road is Rainbow Road. The section where you go in a loop feels like it would be perfect for Mario Kart 8, but it wasn't added, so whatever. The first course of the Shell Cup is SNES Mario Circuit 1, the most fitting way to start the retro tracks. And yeah, it's a 3D remake of an SNES track. It's fine. N64 Moo Moo Farms is alright, although I think it's definitely time for it to get another remake. GBA Peach Circuit is a 3D GBA track, and GCN Luigi Circuit is fine. I just don't know why this cup is so full of circuits. The Banana Cup starts with SNES Donut Plains 1, and as its name implies, it's a 3D SNES track in Mario Kart DS and it's Donut Plains 1. N64 Frappe Snowland still gives me claustrophobia, and GBA Bowser Castle 2 is still a GBA Bowser Castle 2. GCN Baby Park had the amount of laps shortened from 7 to 5. Oh no. SNES Koopa Troopa Beach 2 is the first course in the Leaf Cup, okay. N64 Choco Mountain is still fine, and GBA Luigi Circuit is still raining and depressing. And they got rid of the ability to drive on the side of the bridge on Mushroom Bridge. I couldn't do it anyway, so whatever. The final cup of the game, the Lightning Cup. SNES Choco Island 2. Sure. N64 Banshee Boardwalk has a different fish now. Somebody's probably extremely infuriated by that. GBA Sky Garden is nice to see again, I guess. And GCN Yoshi Circuit is kind of disappointing to end on. But okay, that's all the courses in the game. Now, I don't exactly care for the way this game controls, at least the drifting anyway. It's similar to Double Dash where you have to go back and forth, but with that you had a thumbstick. Here it's just the D-pad and doesn't work as well in my opinion, and I already didn't like it in Double Dash. Battle mode is down to 2 options. Of course, there's Balloon Battle, but there's also a new one, Shine Runners. Despite the nearly identical name, it's not the same thing as Shine Thief. It's similar in that you have to hold on to shines, but there's 9 instead of 1. And then whoever has the fewest after a certain amount of time gets eliminated, and then it keeps going. Okay. Item time, let's go. It's a pretty basic selection here with only 2 new ones. For your everyday items, there's the shells, mushrooms, bombs, which are now normal items, fake item boxes, bananas, stars, lightning, and boo. The 2 new items are the blooper, which sprays ink and covers your screen, which is extremely annoying, and the bullet bill. It quickly shoots you forward and you're essentially invincible. Yep, time trial and versus, but there's a new mode. But there's an entirely new mode here. Mission mode. There's several little missions to complete, which is such a good idea. There's even boss battles. It gives Mario Kart some single player content. What? The missions aren't ever too crazy. It's usually stuff just like collecting coins or driving through rings, but I really like it and I wish they kept doing it in the future games. There's also an emblem maker where you can use the touchscreen to design an emblem for your kart. Cool? I don't really care though because you can't even see it most of the time. And that is the Mario Kart DS game for the Nintendo DS family of systems. It's okay, I guess. It's not that bad, but I just don't really care about it. I don't have any nostalgia or anything for this game, so it doesn't do much for me. The same could be said for all of the previous games as well, but it's still alright. I think it's worth playing just for mission mode, though. Mario Kart Wii. The most overrated Mario Kart by far in my opinion, at least right now. I've noticed what I call the nostalgia cycle happen many times, like twice. Once a console is about 20 or so years old, the kids that grew up with it become the most obnoxious people on the internet of all time for about 5 years. They'll constantly sing the praises of the device they grew up with, and if you say anything negative about it or its games, you fall into one of 2 camps: stupid old moron or dumb stupid baby. Oh, or you'll just be accused of wanting to be different or something. What was I talking about again? Oh yeah, Mario Kart Wii. This game originally released on April 27th, 2008 in this huge box full of bones, probably. Yep, bones. This is my favorite bone though, the Wii wheel. Basically you just put the Wii remote in this slot here and there you go. A really tiny steering wheel, this thing is next to useless. So yeah, not much of a fan of this one. There's a handful of reasons, many of which I'll get to later. Mario Kart Wii features the largest character roster in the series thus far with 28. And this is a pretty roster, I would say, if I unlocked everybody. The criteria for unlocking some of them is just annoying in my opinion. Some of them are super easy, like Diddy Kong, who requires you to win the 50cc Lightning Cup, or Birdo, where you have to play 16 time trial races. But then characters like Baby Luigi force you to unlock 8 expert staff ghosts and time trials. I don't even know what any of that means. It's like they're speaking a different language. And then Rosalina requires you to do some stupid task or play mediocrity. Send help. And I would be foolish if I didn't mention Funky Kong, the best character in the game apparently. Like, I don't have him unlocked, so I don't really care. He's just Donkey Kong with sunglasses and he makes funny noises. Mii's also make their Mario Kart debut, which makes sense. It is a Wii game after all. They're given 2 character slots for some reason, but I digress. Anyway, the karts are all fine. This game actually introduces something new though. Bikes. Great timing to introduce a steering wheel controller, and it's pretty dumb because the bikes are vastly superior to the karts. You can do a wheelie on straightaways and gain a good bit of extra speed, which you can't do in the karts. I kinda get why they scrapped that in future games. So the playable characters and karts are all pretty good in my opinion. A little frustrating to unlock, but whatever. Now it's time for my main issue with the game. I'll be talking about the controls first here, so my segue makes more sense. First of all, this game offers a good variety when it comes to controllers that you can use. You've got the Wii Remote on its own, the Wii Remote in a piece of round plastic, the Wii Remote with the head of a golf club attached to it, the classic controllers, and the GameCube controller. They all function fine, I guess. There's not much wrong with any of them, but my main issue lies with the game's new tricking system. Instead of just driving off a ramp like in previous games, you can perform a trick which gives you a speed boost when you land. Obviously, a speed boost is good, so you're going to want to do tricks off of basically every ramp that you can. Now, how do you perform tricks? If you've only played games after Mario Kart Wii, you might say that you just press the same button that you use to drift. And oh, how I wish you were right. No, if you're using any of the Wii Remote setups, then you have to shake the controller. I do not like when you just have to shake the controller. That is one of my only problems with Mario Odyssey. And I'm not against motion controls as a whole, don't get it twisted. It's just that when the only motion you're doing is making your arm have a seizure. If you're playing with an actual controller, in order to trick you have to press the D-pad. Why? It's so out of reach no matter what controller you're using. I genuinely don't understand what the thought process behind this was. Anyway, the courses themselves. Are they worth taking up like half of the booster course pass slot? Well, no, but for the most part they're okay. The Mushroom Cup starts with Luigi Circuit, and you guessed it, it's just another circuit track with not much unique to make it stand out. There's a Luigi statue whose head gets replaced by your Miis if you play as them. Okay. This section near the end with a bunch of boost panels is kind of fun, I guess. It's Wii Luigi Circuit. That's all there is to say. Next up is Moo Moo Meadows. It's basically a sequel to Moo Moo Farms from Mario Kart 64. And it's nice, I guess. It's not my favorite or anything, but it's decent enough. I sure hope they bring it back twice in a row. Mushroom Gorge is kinda cool, I guess. It's a gorge full of mushrooms. Wow. I like the ending section with all the bouncy mushrooms. Sucks that tricking sucks. And the Mushroom Cup closes with Toad's Factory. It's alright, kinda overrated in my opinion, but still a decent track with a great theming. It's the factory where they make all of the item boxes from the series. That's a very cool idea, I just wish they did more. The first course of the Flower Cup is Mario Circuit, which feels very similar to the one in Double Dash. Like, even more similar than your average circuit would feel to its predecessors. This one even has a chain chomp too. The only noteworthy difference outside of the layout is the town section at the beginning. Coconut Mall is an all-time classic, that is overrated, but it's still a classic. It's a mall as the name implies, and unlike DS Luigi's Mansion, it actually takes place inside the building for a majority of the course. DK Summit is a sequel to DK Pass from Mario Kart DS. Okay. Wario's Gold Mine is the final track, and I like it. It's very fitting for Wario since he's the average US politician and does anything he can for money. Giving him his own gold mine is such a fitting choice. Daisy Circuit is the first course here in the Star Cup, and as much as I don't care for Daisy, her courses are always pretty good. It's a seaside town at sunset. I like that a lot. Koopa Cape is okay. I don't really know what you would call it. It's not a beach, but like it's still by the water. It's like a cliff thing by the water. Okay. The section in the underwater pipe is probably the highlight though. It feels like one of those things at an aquarium that fills me with dread even thinking about it. Maple Treeway is a fall themed course that takes place on giant trees. And for some reason there's a volcano in the background, which I've always found odd. But it's a good track though, even with the out of place volcano. Grumble Volcano is next, and okay, maybe Maple Treeway was just foreshadowing. Maybe. The course is decent, although it kinda just feels like a generic volcano level that would be in a new Super Mario Bros. Game. The Special Cup starts with Dry Dry Ruins, which feels very similar to Dry Dry Desert from Mario Kart Double Dash, but this one has temple ruins, I guess. Again, not a huge fan of generic deserts, but the temple at least changes things somewhat. Moonview Highway is one that used to really annoy me, now it just kind of annoys me. I don't care for the courses that have cars all over the place, especially here. It just always got on my nerves, I don't know why. Bowser's Castle is okay, I mean, I don't really have much to say about it. It's another Bowser's Castle. Again, very similar to the one from Double Dash. The giant Bowser statue is pretty cool though. There's even a Connect set of it that I really want, but I've never been able to get. And Rainbow Road. It's a good Rainbow Road, really challenging, but doesn't have too much of its own identity, to be honest. Like SNES's was the first, N64 is long and has the fireworks. Double Dash's has the city below. I mean, there's some Mario Galaxy stuff here, I guess. Like Gusty Garden Galaxies even in the music, but that's from Galaxy, that's not like its own thing. My favorite thing though is that the cart will burn up in the atmosphere when you fall. Nice realism. This one is a very good yet basic Rainbow Road. Mario Kart Wii follows in DS's footsteps and brings back 16 courses from previous games in the series, and this will be a staple going forward. GCN Peach Beach is the first retro in the game, and it starts the Shell Cup. It's basically the exact same. DS Yoshi Falls, same story. SNES Ghost Valley 2 is obviously the most visually different here since it went from 2D to 3D, but as with most SNES remakes, it's just kind of boring. N64 Mario Raceway is the final course in this cup, and yep, it's basically the same. N64 Sherbet Land starts the Banana Cup, and it's the same. GBA Shy Guy Beach is another 2D to 3D transformation. It's better here, but it feels kind of off. I don't know. DS Delfino Square is back, and it's nice to see this course on the big screen. The Banana Cup's last course is GCN Waluigi Stadium. I definitely prefer this version due to the addition of tricking. This course feels made for that. DS Desert Hills is the first course of the Leaf Cup and it's basically unchanged. GBA Bowser Castle 3 is okay. N64 DK Jungle Parkway is as expected, and so is GCN Mario Circuit. Why? There's 3 Mario circuits in this game, technically 4 if you count N64 Mario Raceway, and all but SNES Mario Circuit 3 feel identical. This was a terrible choice for a retro track, even if it's fine. Like, it's not bad, but I don't know why they felt the need to add this one. It's so incredibly redundant and unnecessary. Starting the Lightning Cup, we have speak of the devil, it's SNES Mario Circuit 3, which again, like I said a few seconds ago, is the most visually unique Mario circuit in the game, but I don't know, it's just kind of gross to look at. Somebody peed in the sky or something, I don't know. DS Peach Gardens is still okay, and GCN DK Mountain is also improved here just due to the tricks, and we end the entire game off with N64 Bowser's Castle. It's the same, wow. This game's courses have some very high highs, but also some really low lows. There's a new battle mode this time around, Coin Runners, alongside the returning Balloon Battle. Coin Runners is as you'd expect, you just try to collect the most coins. This game has my favorite Mario Kart battle course of all time though, Delfino Pier. I really want it to return someday. This game introduces 3 new items, the Mega Mushroom, Thundercloud, and Pow Block. The Mega Mushroom is from New Super Mario Bros. And as the name clearly indicates, it makes you not small. The Pow Block is really dumb and annoying. All it does is cause everyone who is ahead of the user to spin out and lose their items. It's just a worse lightning because you can avoid it by shaking the Wii remote at the right time. The Thundercloud is the worst item in the series, and I'm not exaggerating. It's an item that hurts you. If you don't bump into somebody which passes the cloud in time, it'll shrink you. It has its defenders for some reason, but I hate it. I guess it does make you faster, but like, so? The other items are the mushroom, triple mushroom, green, red, and spiny shells, triple green and red shells, fake item boxes, bananas, triple bananas, bullet bills, bloopers, bombs, lightning, and the star. It's fine, but I just feel like the item balancing is too chaotic here. I get that Mario Kart is supposed to be wild and crazy, but it gets to a point. Time trials and versus racing are here again. The only new thing is online tournaments. Guess what you can't play anymore? Hint, it's the online tournaments. So I think Mario Kart Wii is fine. I don't care for the way it controls or looks. It's nasty. But the courses themselves, the main thing you'd care about, are all almost excellent. It's just too bad they're in a mediocre game. Mario Kart 7, one of the most forgettable entries in the series in my opinion. Arguably the least memorable. The name isn't helping with that at all. Mario Kart 7. I mean, yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, it checks out. It's weird too because this game actually introduces some unique gimmicks that were brought over to later games. Gliding and underwater racing. Although gliding is the clear star of the game here as it's featured prominently on the box art and the back of the case. Speaking of the box art, it's fine. I just don't get why they went for a completely white sky. Making it blue would have honestly made it some of the best box art in the series in my opinion, but this simple misstep kinda ruins it for me. Despite its more boring appearance, Mario Kart 7 was actually one of the 3DS's saviors. The game originally released on December 4th, 2011 in the United States, which was perfect timing. The 3DS was pretty dead at the time, but once this and Super Mario 3D Land released, along with a fairly substantial price cut, but we don't talk about that, the system actually started to sell pretty well. That's enough introduction. Let's get into Mario Kart 7 as it was intended, by playing Mario Kart 7. Another major addition to this game was the ability to customize your kart. I remember thinking it was pretty cool back then and I still find it kinda neat nowadays, although the customization doesn't amount to much at all. All you do is pick a body, wheels, and a glider. They made it so that no matter what combo you go with, it never looks too weird, which is honestly pretty disappointing. I think it would have been really fun if they made it so you could make something completely bizarre and like almost alien or something. Onto the character selection though, and since I've played as Mario every single time thus far, and we're nearing the end, I think it's time I'll play as my actual favorite character, Waluigi. Wait, where's Waluigi? He's not here. Yeah, Waluigi got cut from this game for some reason. Nintendo apparently gave 2 reasons and neither of them make any sense. A, time constraints. B, he's just too scary. Literally, zero answer makes any sense. Sure, let's imagine that they were actually running out of time. That's a totally fair and legitimate reason. They added the Queen Bee from Super Mario Galaxy. This is more important to you? 2011 Nintendo needs to get their priorities in check. Let's entertain their other idea. He's too scary. Really? This is scary to kids, but this isn't? Also, imagine if a parent bought this game for their kid that was absolutely terrified of Waluigi for some reason. You know, they check the character roster and everything just to make sure he wasn't in the game, and then the kid gets to the end of the banana cup. So if Waluigi is too scary, we should add his most iconic course that features a giant towering statue of him. Got it. Anyway, I'm getting too stuck up on a character absence from 2011. The rest of the non-insect roster is about what you would expect. They added Metal Mario though, who is a texture swap of Mario. Cool, I think. He just feels like lazy padding, to be honest. Like, we need one more character that isn't Waluigi. Let's throw in Silver Mario. Other newcomers are Shy Guy as a full playable racer, Wiggler, and Lakitu. All fine additions, I guess. Although none of them are major characters and are just basic enemies. The Mii also makes a return from Mario Kart Wii, but they were cut down into one character slot instead of two. And I guess this is where I'll have to get my Waluigi fix. The racing in Mario Kart 7 is about as you'd expect, and it feels completely fine. Although if you wanted Mario Kart 7 to control like garbage for some reason, you could also push the up direction on the D-pad. Why is this a thing? Go into some weird first-person mode where your only means of controlling the cart is by tilting the system. I don't understand why they made this. I'm lying. It's to sell more plastic garbage. They made another stupid wheel accessory. It's essentially the same thing as the Wii wheel, but made for the 3DS. Shocker. I have no intention of buying this thing right now, although it's so stupid and useless that I kind of want it. Anyway, if you don't press the D-pad, your racing experience will be completely fine. The gliding and underwater sections do change things up a bit. Obviously you're going to be gliding through the air and driving underwater. I can see why they marketed gliding more heavily. It actually feels different. The underwater segments make things floatier and less fun, but at the same time it doesn't feel that much different. The courses in this game are actually pretty good though, but I still kind of find them forgettable, even when they shouldn't be. The Mushroom Cup starts with Toad Circuit. If you Google the definition of generic and click on images, this will be the first result. It's fine, but so forgettable. Daisy Hills is okay. I don't really know what it has to do with Daisy though. Or Hills. Cheap Cheap Lagoon, again, fine, but generic. This is the first major showcase of the underwater racing. And Shy Guy Bazaar is pretty cool, as it's a bazaar in the desert. Wow, definitely the most thematically unique course in this cup. The Flower Cup starts off with one of my favorite Mario Kart courses of all time. Genuinely. Woohoo Loop is based on Woohoo Island from Wii Sports Resort. Such a unique idea for a course. And the first example of a mainline Mario Kart crossover track, which would become way more prevalent in the next game. Mario Circuit is again just another circuit course, although it is way better than Toad Circuit, if only because you get to go inside Peach's castle for a bit. It gives the course something. Music Park is such a bizarre idea for a course. You're essentially just driving across various giant musical instruments. It's a really cool idea, I like it a lot, although I do think I prefer this course's European name, Melody Motorway, more. I like alliteration. Rock Mountain is cool, but not that interesting. It's a mountain. Wow. It does a good job at showcasing the gliding though, since like half the track is gliding. The first course of the Star Cup, Piranha Plant Slide, is based on the underground levels from the original Super Mario Bros. And I'm surprised there aren't more underground courses in this series. It's an untapped market. It's pretty good, I guess. Wario Shipyard is next, and it's this kinda haunted, abandoned shipyard looking thing. You go underwater for a few sections, which is kinda neat, but otherwise it's okay. I don't really know if I think the music fits or not, and it doesn't do much to solidify the Wario theme. Why does he own an abandoned shipyard? I don't know. Neo Bowser City is one I always see people hate on for some reason. Like, sure, it's not the best Mario Kart course of all time or anything, but I still think it's alright. It's this city at night while it's raining. I don't really get why people hate it so much. The final course in this cup is another Woohoo Island course, Maka Woohoo. It's kind of just more of the same, although this time it's at sunset, which is neat, I guess. DK Jungle is the first course in the Special Cup, and it's based on Donkey Kong Country Returns. Retro Studios actually made this course, as well as, ironically enough, the retro courses in this game. The course is pretty good though, however, as someone who hasn't played much of Donkey Kong Country Returns, nothing about it sticks out as being from that game in particular outside of the enemies. Next up is Rosalina's Ice World. I don't care. Just a generic ice world with like Mario Galaxy elements thrown in there for no reason. Bowser's Castle is just another Bowser's Castle. It doesn't really do much for me, honestly. And Rainbow Road is probably the best in the series, at least so far. It's not just on a Rainbow Road. You get to drive across different planets and stuff, and it's really cool. I also really like the section where you're on the moon. Now we get on to the retro courses. The classic courses start off with N64 Luigi Raceway. Again, it's fine. GBA Bowser's Castle 1 is a GBA course in Mario Kart 7. It exists, and it's fine. There's a glider ramp now, though. Wow. Wii Mushroom Gorge is already back. The only major change is that the left path of the mushrooms during the cave section has been replaced with a giant blue mushroom that activates your glider. And the cup ends with DS Luigi's Mansion. A real Luigi heavy cup, huh? It's basically the same. It's basically the exact same as well, although they got rid of the actual paintings from Luigi's Mansion. Why? Now they're just generic boos. It doesn't matter that much, but it genuinely makes this course worse in my opinion. The first course of the Banana Cup, N64 Koopa Troopa Beach, is the same. SNES Mario Circuit 2 adds a glider ramp. Coconut Mall is basically identical. They just changed the top section here into a glider ramp and killed one of the Miis. And it ends with DS Waluigi Pinball. It's always nice to have this track included, unless you're one of those dumb kids that's apparently terrified of Waluigi. I still can't get over how stupid of a reasoning that was, and it's also so dumb that Waluigi's course is in a game that he isn't in. The Leaf Cup starts with N64 Calamari Desert, and this version doesn't change much. DS DK Pass is fine. Again, I still don't get why DK gets these winter-based courses. I almost wonder if it inspired Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze or something. GCN Daisy Cruiser is the same, except now it's probably gonna sink because this part is underwater. And Wii Maple Treeway is the perfect closer for the Leaf Cup. It's the same. The final cup, the Lightning Cup, starts with the Wii Koopa Kate. They nerfed the tube and now it's just a boring underwater segment. GCN Dino Jungle is basically identical. DS Airship Fortress is a good penultimate course. It really gets you in the mood for the segment to be over. And we end it with the very first retro Rainbow Road to be brought back. And there's no better one for that to be than SNES Rainbow Road, the very first one. It's fine. Definitely an alright set of courses here. I just need the Woohoo Island ones to come back now. I honestly never play battle mode in this game. I just don't really care about it. It's just balloon battle and coin runners again anyway. But hey, there's a Woohoo map, which is pretty cool, I guess. Coins are back. Neat. Bananas, green shells, red shells, mushrooms, their triple variants, bombs, bullet bills, bloopers, stars, golden mushrooms, and lightning all return. The biggest new addition in terms of items here is the Lucky 7. It sucks. It's just 7 of the other items all at once. The other newbies here are Fire Flowers, which lets you shoot out a bunch of fireballs, and the Super Leaf, which makes your cart grow a tail for some reason that you can spin to deflect items and stuff. Okay. Not a fan of the tail thing at all. Yep, time trials and not versus, because there's no versus mode here for some reason. That's really annoying, so I have to play through an entire cup just to get to a course I want. Mario Kart 7 is alright, I guess. I have a lot of fond memories with it, but that's about it. I just honestly don't think it's too worthwhile to replay nowadays, especially because the two main gimmicks, its whole identity, were brought back in Mario Kart 8. So if you're just craving a Mario Kart game with gliding in it, just play Mario Kart 8. Although those Woohoo Island courses are reason enough to replay this game. Please just bring them back already. I'm dying. Because this is the Mario Kart game with the longest lifespan, get ready for this to be the longest segment, so go grab some popcorn or something. Mario Kart 8 first released on the Wii U on May 30th, 2014, and is the best-selling Wii U game. Over half of the console owners have this game, which is mind-blowing. Yeah, it's really mind-blowing that like 4 people own this game, wow. The Nintendo Switch version, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, released on April 28th, 2017, and is again the best-selling game game on the console. For this segment, I'll be discussing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe exclusively for like 90% of it. Most of the stuff in the base Mario Kart 8 is featured in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. The only stuff that I can think of that was omitted was the Miiverse support, for obvious reason. I'll be sure to specify when something was added as Wii U DLC, added to the base game in 8 Deluxe, or was added as DLC in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as part of the Booster Course Pass. This game has the biggest roster in the series so far, and actually has almost every single character that has ever appeared in the series. The only real exceptions are Rob, Koopa Paratroopa, and Donkey Kong Jr., as well as somebody else I'm probably forgetting. But everyone else is here and accounted for. Now, the starting roster on the Wii U version was absolutely terrible. The newcomers pre-DLC were so unbelievably bland. There's 9 newcomers in the base roster, which sounds pretty good actually, until you realize that 7 out of the 9 are Koopalings and the other 2 are Baby Rosalina and Pink Gold Pete. I don't have a problem with the Koopalings being playable here, it's just that they're the only actually new characters. The other 2 were just blatantly lazy filler. Thankfully, the DLC kinda picks it up. Wave 1 introduced 2 clones, Joyous Day being Tanuki Mario and Cat Peach. Okay, why are these separate characters? Link from The Legend of Zelda was added in this wave too, which is the first of the non-Mario characters in this game. And I'm cool with it as long as they stick to just a handful. I don't want a full Super Smash card or anything. It's not a horrible idea or anything, I would just rather have Mario Kart instead. Wave 2 brings back Dry Bowser from Mario Kart Wii, which is fine, but again, he's just essentially a clone. The 3 other characters are all from Animal Crossing, 2 villagers and Isabelle. Refer to my previous point that was a few sentences ago. And those are the characters that were added as Wii U game DLC. Also included in this DLC were Yoshi and Shy Guy recolors. That's an amazing addition, why wasn't this here sooner? Yes, you could technically play as different colored Yoshis in Super Circuit, but that was only available in a certain version of the multiplayer where only one person has the cartridge. Anyway, now why Toad wasn't given the same treatment, I have no idea. But hey, we can finally drive around as a shy white guy. Now let's drive over to 8 Deluxe and take a look at who it added to its base roster. This version of the game retains all of the characters from the Wii U version, including the DLC in the base package, which is exactly what you should expect from a deluxe version. However, it brings back a few fan favorite characters that were glaring omissions in the Wii U version. Dry Bones, King Boo, and Bowser Jr. A little heavy on the villains, but they also added a handful of new characters. 2 Inklings from Splatoon and Gold Mario as a costume swap for Metal Mario. Okay. This makes the roster pretty good now in my opinion. 8 Deluxe also received DLC characters in the Booster Course Pass with a whopping 8. All are technically returning from previous games, however some made their first true Mario Kart debut here. The characters didn't start releasing until Wave 4 with Birdo, who is another one of those kinda mainstays, yet it doesn't feel weird when she's absent kinda characters. Wave 5 brought back Wiggler from Mario Kart 7, which means you can do this. Kamek finally makes his debut in an actual Mario Kart game after being cut twice. The third character is PD Piranha, who's back from Double Dash. Wave 6 brings the most out of any wave. Diddy Kong, Funky Kong, Pauline, and Y. Peachette is the final character in the game. You know, as much as I wish they included anyone else, this is extremely fitting. Mario Kart 8 was notoriously full of clone characters, so why not end it on one? Still a bad choice though, I would have rather had literally anybody else, except for maybe like Adolf Hitler or something. Kart customization is back this time around as well, and much like with Mario Kart 7, it's kind of whatever. But there's product placement, yes! Genuine real-life Mercedes vehicles are in this game. That's amazing, and they were carried over to 8 Deluxe as well. That's amazing. I can truly live out my dream here. A shy white guy in a Mercedes. This is the greatest Mario Kart. We're gonna be here for a while. The new gimmick is anti-gravity, which lets the course design just be absolutely insane. It doesn't really change the way the driving feels though. Outside of now, when you bump into someone, you do a spin, which gives you a slight boost. It's a little bit trippy, I guess, but at the same time, it does just feel like you're driving. The camera changes so you're right side up, so it doesn't really feel like you're upside down or anything. Gliding and underwater segments also return, but they clearly aren't as big of a deal as the anti-gravity. Now let's just get this started and over with because I'm probably going to be here for at least 30 minutes. The Mushroom Cup begins with Mario Kart Stadium, and yes, it's kind of similar to a lot of the other circuit courses from throughout the series. The only thing that really differentiates it is the fact that it's at night and there's an anti-gravity section. And also it's a stadium, not a circuit. It's a great introduction to this game though, and does a good job showcasing the new gimmick. Next is Water Park, which is a really unique setting for a course, being a water park. It's good, but I don't really think about it that much. There's an underwater segment. Shocking, I know. Sweet Sweet Canyon is up next, and it's good. A course made entirely of candy and other diabetes-inducing things. And the cup ends with Thwomp Ruins. I like this course, but at the same time, it's just kind of there. The theming is cool, fun, and unique, and the layout is good, but I don't know. The Flower Cup starts with Mario Circuit, the course on the cover. And yep, this is Mario Circuit and Mario Kart 8, alright? Once again, it's good and all, and it does a good job at showcasing the anti-gravity. Without that, it would be kinda boring. But that gimmick allows them to make just a wild-looking course. Next is Toad Harbor. I really like this track, it's just a pleasant little track along the coast. Doesn't really use any of the gimmicks outside of a brief section where you can drive on the wall. From this point forwards, I'll exclude any discussion of the anti-gravity unless it's used in a really cool or really stupid way. Twisted Mansion is a fairly standard ghost track outside of the twisting wall and the weird, kind of forced feeling underwater section. I like the use of the behemoth as a thing above the door, and it's still a good course. I just wish they did more with it. Shy Guy Falls rounds the cup out, and this course is just good for the most part, but I really like this section where you're driving up a waterfall with the anti-gravity. And there's Shy Guy singing, which is pretty fun, I guess. The Star Cup is considered by a lot of people to be the best cup in the series history. And yeah, I kind of see where they're coming from. It starts with Sunshine Airport, which is a brilliant theme for a course. You have to drive around inside the airport for a bit, and then you go down the runway, and you even have a glider section where there's a plane taking off. It's really cool. Dolphin Shoals is up next, and it's a good beach/water course. I feel like most people just praise it for its music, which is fair. And I like this section where you're driving on top of the eel. These things are scary, and now you're driving on one with a go-kart. Electrodrome is once again a really cool setting for a course, and the layout is great as well. There's a good use of the anti-gravity where one path is on the ground while the other is on the ceiling. And fun fact, this is the only Mario Kart course so far to have a one-word name. I tell that to everybody I meet. Mount Wario ends the cup, and this is a really great course. It's the first of this game's section courses, much like 3DS Rainbow Road or either of the Woohoo tracks. You start in a plane and then drive all the way down a mountain. It's excellent, just a bit overrated in my opinion, but it's still really good and I really like it, so don't take me saying it's overrated the wrong way. I can think something's overrated while also liking it. Except for Mario Galaxy, I think that game's just kinda okay and extremely overrated. Don't kill me. The Special Cup is also good, just not as good as the Star Cup. It kicks off with Cloud Top Cruise, which is a pretty cool course. As the name implies, it takes place on top of the clouds. There's a section where you drive on an airship too, although my favorite part is probably when you go through a storm cloud and the music changes to a heavy metal version of the regular theme. And there's like Gusty Garden Galaxy in there somewhere from Mario Galaxy. Okay, wow, I don't care. Next up is Bone Dry Dunes. This course is just so boring. It's fine, but it just has nothing special going for it. The giant dry Bowser skull is cool and all, but that just does not save this course from the deepest, darkest depths of mediocrity. Of course, as is tradition, the second to last course is Bowser's Castle. And it's essentially what you'd expect. It's good, but that's all there is to say about it. The only part that I find truly memorable is the part with the punching Bowser statue. And of course, it all ends with Rainbow Road. After Mario Kart 7's masterpiece of a track and the insanely wacky anti-gravity gimmick, you'd think this would have to be the most insane Rainbow Road yet. In reality, it's just okay. It goes for a space station theme this time around, which is really cool, but it barely feels like Rainbow Road at this point. It doesn't do anything interesting with the anti-gravity either. So yes, this course is fine. Like, it would be pretty decent if it was called like Rainbow Space Station or something. But as a Rainbow Road, the ultimate course in the game, the end of the game, the thing you remember the game for most, it's fine. Not one I'm like jumping to replay or anything. The first retro cup of the game is the standard shell cup, which starts with Wii Moo Moo Meadow. It's basically the exact same here as it was in Mario Kart Wii, although now there's a glider section, which is nice. And the sunset really makes this course pop a lot better in my opinion. it makes the Wii version look like garbage, which, to be fair, I still think Mario Kart Wii looks like garbage in general, but anyway. Following that is GBA Mario Circuit. This course is really neat, actually, because it doesn't just feel like a GBA track, and that's mainly due to this anti-gravity section here where the road gets lifted at an angle, which is a really good use of that gimmick. You can still tell it's a GBA track at heart, but that just makes it feel a lot better, or more interesting. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. DS Cheap Cheap Beach is next, and yep, it's DS Cheap Cheap Beach. It's fine. N64 Toad's Turnpike is still kind of mediocre, but I like that you can drive on the walls to avoid traffic. So I wish you could do that in real life. Yeah, get it, guys, traffic. GCN Dry Desert is the first course of the Banana Cup, and for the most part, not too much is changed. The open part near the end was changed to be an oasis, which I like. Not a huge change, but just enough of one to notice and point out. Makes the course a little bit better than it was originally, I guess. SNES Donut Plains 3 is another pretty big upgrade, and it is the perfect mix of an actual upgrade and keeping the classic feel. N64 Royal Raceway has a gliding section now, and you can't drive up to the castle anymore for some reason. Why did they do that? That was one of the best parts of the original and something that made it interesting. Now it's okay, it looks nice, but there's nothing interesting about it. Oh, did you know about N64 Royal Raceway and Mario Kart 8? It's that course where you can't drive up to the castle anymore. 3DS DK Jungle feels similar, but the temple was changed into an anti-gravity section, which I guess makes sense. You know, make like an ancient temple defy gravity or something. I don't know. The first course in the Leaf Cup is DS Wario Stadium. A good amount of anti-gravity was added here, which definitely makes this course feel a little bit more interesting. GCN Sherbetland now has an underwater section. Cool. Haha, get it? Cool because like it's cold and cool means cold. 3DS Music Park is just as good as it was originally. And N64 Yoshi Valley is probably one of the most traditional upgrades in the game. It looks a ton better, but not much was done to the actual gameplay aspect, unless I'm missing something, because I probably am, and I'm dumb, and somebody's gonna call me a word I can't say in the comment section, and I'm gonna cry and cry and cry and cry and not actually cry because I'm being over dramatic. The final cup of the base game starts with DS Tick-Tock Clock. Not much to say here, I still really like it though. Same story with 3DS Piranha Plant Slide, both are very similar to their initial appearances. Except like obviously the visuals are upgraded, but that's besides the point. Wii Grumble Volcano is basically the same, still not anything special to me, honestly. And the final course is N64 Rainbow Road. And wow, this course looks so good. They changed it into a sectional track though, instead of the million-year-long journey it was originally. Shortening it was fine, that makes sense. The original did go on for way too long, but I think making it just 2 laps in total would have made way more sense. Now it feels way too short. I do really like the floating train they added. And that is it for the base game of Mario Kart 8. And now it's time to move on to the 16 DLC courses that were added to the Wii U game and were part of the base game for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. GCN Yoshi Circuit fittingly starts the Egg Cup. It's mainly the same. I still like that it's in the outline of a Yoshi though. Now we're getting to one of the most bizarre things the game does. It combines new courses and retro courses in the same cup. Not my consistency. It doesn't really matter anyway, I guess. Excite Bike Arena is the first of the non-Mario courses based on another Nintendo property. The layout is just a basic oval, but the positioning of the ramps supposedly changes every time, just like in the actual Excite Bike games. I can't really tell though, to be honest. You know, I'm not like constantly playing Excite Bike Arena over and over again and counting the differences. Dragon Driftway is pretty cool being based on Chinese temples. Although the only thing I really remember from this course is that the Dragon Mouth section is like the dragon from Mario Galaxy 2, whose name I cannot for the life of me remember right now. I know Google's free, but I just don't feel like doing that. Mute City is the second non-Mario track being based on F-Zero, which is technically Mario Kart's predecessor. That's really cool, but that's all I really have to say about it since I don't know how accurate it is to the Mute City track from F-Zero since I've never really played that game. I played F-Zero 99 for like 10 minutes. It's okay. I mean, you know, it's not exactly my thing, but you know, it's alright. The Triforce Cup is the first cup with an emblem not from the Mario series, and it starts with Wii Wario's Gold Mine. It's still good, and I definitely prefer this version just because it's in a better game. Next is SNES Rainbow Road again. That's weird. It looks nice, I guess, but I feel like bringing it back again so soon after Mario Kart 7 is just a little bit redundant. Ice Ice Outpost is a brand new track and it's fine. I've heard a lot of people say that they hate this one, but I don't really get that. It's not phenomenal by any means, but I'd still say it's good. The cup ends on Hyrule Circuit, a Zelda-themed course. It's decent, although I think I'd probably like it more if I, understood any of the references. The only one I get is the substitute for coins being rubies. Rupees, whatever. Because you can buy lamp oil, rope, and bombs with them, but only if you have enough. The name of the Crossing Cup is so funny to me. It sounds dumb, first of all, and the icon is a leaf, but they couldn't call it the Leaf Cup because there's already a Leaf Cup. I guess they could have called it the Leaf Cup 2, and it starts with GCM Baby Park. Sure. The entire track is anti-gravity, which is cool, and I just don't get the hype, guys. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. GBA Cheeseland is certainly more cheesy here. It's fine, but man, I don't know why. After so many years of playing Mario Kart 8, I just ended up getting really sick of this course more than any other one in particular for some reason. I don't know why. Wild Woods is another new track. It's pretty good, but I don't have much to say about it, unfortunately. It's a wooded track with like a little fairy village or something in there somewhere. Animal Crossing is another terrible name, like father, like son, I guess. But the course itself has a pretty cool gimmick, different weather. There's 4 variations of the same somewhat basic track for all the different seasons: bad, good, and great. The first course of the Bell Cup is 3DS Neo Bowser City. Basically the same as it was originally. It looks pretty good here though. The course is fine. The course itself is still pretty good. Extremely overhated in my opinion. GBA Ribbon Road is really cool. Takes place in a kid's bedroom, or what I want my bedroom to look like. There's tons of little Easter eggs and references everywhere. Kung Fu Lakitu. Super Bell Subway is a subway, not the sandwich restaurant with the cake bread, the train. It's cool. A really neat location for a Mario Kart track. And the final course in the base game / old game DLC is Big Blue, another F-Zero track, and honestly feels a little bit too similar to Mute City in my opinion, but that's okay I guess. It's still good. A little redundant though. And that's every course in Mario Kart 8. Not Mario Kart 8 Deluxe though. The Booster Course Pass was absolutely insane looking back. It increased the already series record-breaking amount of courses at 48 to a nearly inconceivable 96. That is still crazy to me. However, with most things, quality is more important than quantity, so let's see if that is the case here. Also, these course reviews will be substantially shorter than the previous ones from Mario Kart 8, just due to the similarities between the BCP versions of the courses and their original counterpart. It's also important to note that all of these tracks are just ports from the mobile game Mario Kart Tour. It's incredibly noticeable that that's the case for the first few waves, because they did not do much to update them visually at all. It's extremely jarring to go from this to this. Now, this doesn't affect the gameplay all that much, but the visuals are objectively worse and have less effort put into them. However, I don't really care too much, honestly. If the courses are still fun to play, that's all that matters to me. Plus, it was like 50 cents a track if you do the math. The first cup is the Golden Dash Cup, and it starts with Tour Paris Promenade. Yes, a course from Mario Kart Tour. I was genuinely so glad that they were preserving these traps in the inevitable event that Tour gets shut down. And also that means I don't have to play that game anymore. And this one is just okay. It introduces this new gimmick being changing routes in every lap. None of the 3 are the same, which is really cool, but it was extremely disorienting the first time I played it. 3DS Toad Circuit is next. Why does it look like this? It's basically the exact same as it was in Mario Kart 7. This time the grass is just vomit green colored for some reason. The worst visuals are extremely noticeable here. Probably the worst in the entire Booster Course Pass DLC, to be honest. N64 Choco Mountain is next, and it's a similar story. Basically the same as it's always been. And it ends with Wii Coconut Mall. The cars are weird here. They originally did not move at all and still don't in time trials, but after Wave 2 release they modified them so now they spin. I think I prefer the original version of this obstacle. It made more sense thematically, I guess. They're looking for a parking spot, I guess. They're looking for a parking spot. Why are they doing donuts in the parking lot? And they got rid of the Miis. Boo, now they're just Shy Guys. The next cup is the Lucky Cat Cup, which begins with Tour Tokyo Blur. It's another very simple city course and doesn't do too much interesting with the city of Tokyo, unfortunately. It also has different laps, which gives it something at least. DS Shroom Ridge is just okay. It's still one of the ones I don't care about. probably my least favorite of the entire wave. GBA Sky Garden has a completely different layout and is basically an entirely different track. It's still fine. People were being extremely overdramatic about this one in my opinion. I don't like that they changed the color of the road from like a bluish color to brown. I feel like the blue fit better. Lastly, we have the best course in the wave and one of the best in the game, Ninja Hideaway. This track is actually pretty challenging, at least on the first playthrough, and has a lot of different pathways. It's technically a tour course, but they don't label it as one for some reason. That's odd. The second DLC wave opens with the Turnip Cup, which itself starts with New York Minute from Mario Kart Tour. It's just another city track. Again, the laps are different as well, but just assume that's the case for every city track going forward. It's okay. We have SNES Mario Circuit 3 next. Okay. It's not an awful course by any means, but it's extremely boring. Especially with how much they changed GBA Mario Circuit, seeing next to no alterations from the Wii version here is pretty disappointing, and I'm kind of tired of them bringing this course back. I understand there's lore behind it, like it was the first course ever designed or something, so the team has a soft spot for it, but come on guys, please just let it go. N64 Calamari Desert. I really like what they did with this course. The first lap the same as usual, but the others are completely different. You drive on the railroad track, which is really cool. DS Waluigi Pinball is the final track in the cup, and it's just as good as it usually is. Not much has changed, but it didn't really need any alterations. My only complaint here is that it did not get a new remix and just reuses the DS Wario Stadium remix, thus ending the streak of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's courses all having their own unique music. So that means the base version of Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U and Mario Kart World are the only games in the series where every course has its own music. And because correlation 100% equals causation, that means it is impossible for a Mario Kart game to not have a terrible battle mode and unique music for every track. And the lesser visuals actually kind of work here in my opinion, because it's not like a natural location, it's a metal pinball machine. So if things are flat and shiny and weird looking, it makes sense. The Propeller Cup's first course is Tour Sydney Sprint, and it's another city track. The theming here is definitely the most interesting so far for the cities, but it's still not anything too amazing. GBA Snowland is next, and this is just a pleasant little course. I wouldn't call it phenomenal, but it's still pretty good. Wii Mushroom Gorge is basically the exact same as it was in Mario Kart 7, so it's decent, I guess. The next track is Sky High Sunday, a brand new course. It debuted here in the Booster Course Pass, but it was obviously designed and made as a tour track first and foremost. I mean, there's even like a little thing in the bottom corner that says that it's coming to tour in the initial reveal trailer. And it's not great, it's just a big oval with a few jumps and stuff. I wouldn't say I despise it, but it's far from amazing. And I tried to like do the time trial so many times on this course that the game thinks it's my favorite. I need to fix that, because that's embarrassing, and that can like lessen my job opportunities. Like, imagine if I go to a job interview and they do a background check and they find out that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe thinks that my favorite course is Sky High Sunday. Wave 3 begins with the Rock Cup and Tour London Loop. This is the most realistic of the city tracks so far. Not only is it cloudy and depressing, there's a true London citizen roaming the streets here. A+ for realism. In terms of a course, it's more of a C-. GBA Boo Lake is next, and it is so much better than the original version. I mean, they actually added a lake this time. Good for them, they made a course that fits the name. Okay. 3DS Rock Mountain is about the same as the 3DS original. It just looks really gross here. I don't know why, but like the last wave, they actually kind of improved some of the visuals, and some of the courses in this wave look better too, but with Rock Mountain, they just gave up. And Wii Maple Treeway is again about the same. Moon Cup, Mario Odyssey reference, Tour Berlin Byways brings some interesting implications into the Mario universe, namely World War II and communism. There's a womp on the Berlin Wall. The course is a standard city though, lore implications aside. DS Peach Gardens does the same thing as N64 Calamari Desert and has the final lap be completely different. I really like this, and it makes the course I found to be just okay before actually kinda decent. Merry Mountain is genuinely one of my favorite Mario Kart courses of all time, although I will admit that the theme really carries here. It's a little Christmas village on a mountain. That's amazing, I just wish there was more to the layout. Half the track is just a boring slope, but my Christmas bias will destroy any and all objectivity. Wave 3 in the first half of the booster course pass as a whole ends on 3DS Rainbow Road, and it's just as good as it's always been. It's such a great feeling to be able to play this course on the TV. The music's not as good though, I guess. The second half of the BCP starts with the Fruit Cup and Amsterdam Drift. It's just another city track and doesn't really do much for me. GBA Riverside Park is another vast improvement, and I'll add that they actually started updating the visuals with some of these courses, and a good few of them are nearly at the base game in terms of quality. You can still tell when a course was DLC, but it's getting harder and harder. Wii DK Summit is the same, and Yoshi's Island is genuinely awesome. It's based on the SNES game with the same name, and it nails it. The visual style actually works in this track's favor since it more closely resembles the art style of the original game. There's even new sound effects, the coins are different, there's a ton of effort put into this one, and is by far one of my favorites in the entire game. The Boomerang Cup is okay. Sydney Sprint should have been here, by the way. Tour Bangkok Rush is another city track. Whoa. DS Mario Circuit is slightly different. There's a forest now. Okay. And GCN Waluigi Stadium means that both Waluigi tracks are here and accounted for. Nice. There's a new path up here now, I guess. Tour Singapore Speedway is, you guessed it, another city. I do like the aesthetic here, though. I cannot say that word. Wave 5 starts with the Feather Cup and Tour Athens Dash, which is alright. Definitely more unique than most of the other cities. GC and Daisy Cruiser is as expected, and Wii Moonview Highway is a fine track, but it was just such a terrible addition for the booster course path. There's already so many city courses I don't want anymore. And I don't care if this one's original, I just don't want it. And Squeaky Clean Sprint is another really good original course. It takes place in a giant bathroom. You drive through the tub, through the drain, over the toilet. My dream come true, if I was weird. If London Loop was the most realistic city course, then the first course of the Cherry Cup, Tour Los Angeles Laps, is the least realistic. There's no homeless people or fentanyl anywhere. Next, GBA Sunset Wilds made me irrationally angry. So you know how the charm of the original is that the sun would set over time, ending with the course being at night. Nothing changes here. It's perpetually dusk. This sucked. Without that detail, it's just a fairly boring track with formerly racially insensitive Shy Guys. Boo. Wii Koopa Cape. Okay, I'm getting really tired of this one too. And Tour Vancouver Velocity is a pretty good city track, which means in the grand scheme of things, I think it's just okay. I like the ice rink section though. Hashtag true Canadian moment. The Final Wave, Tour Rome Avanti. It's a city, but I like going through the Coliseum. The chain chomp makes me jump every single time and I don't know why. GC and DK Mountain is the same as usual, so it's alright. And Wii Daisy Circuit is way too easy to be this far into the game. I still think it's okay, but this would have been better as a Wave 3 track in my opinion. And Piranha Plant Cove is the final of these original tracks. It's fine enough, I guess, but I definitely prefer Yoshi's Island, Squeaky Clean Sprint, and Merry Mountain more. Sorry, but there's just no holly jolliness here. The Final Cup, and what an incredibly fitting way to go out with a cup named after the most infamous item in this series, the spiny shell, or the blue shell if you don't know anything. It's extremely poetic, if you've only read Shakespeare in high school or something. Tour Madrid Drive, okay. I like the section where you go through the soccer field. 3DS Rosalina's Ice World, sure, I guess so. Why not? I'm pretty sure the leaks said this was supposed to be a different games course, but it ended up being this one for some reason. I remember when this wave got revealed, I was on my way to get a root canal, so that's fun. And seeing 3DS Rosalina's Ice World was the worst thing that happened to me that day. SNES Bowser Castle 3 is amazing. Not only does it finally add the second Bowser's Castle to this game, but it's just a really cool track. It perfectly captures what I'd want out of an SNES remake. It still has that classic feel, but it's just not a flat plane. Beautiful. And the cup. Wave, Booster Course Pass, and game as a whole ends on Wii Rainbow Road. Duh. I mean, what else would it have been? And it's very similar to the original design, so it's good. Not my favorite Rainbow Road, but it's definitely still solid. And I really like that they kept the detail of you burning up in the atmosphere when you fall. They had no reason to add that, but I guess they knew that Mario Kart Wii fans would whine and complain, so they did it anyway. Thanks, Nintendo. And it's still kind of surreal to me that Mario Kart 8 is finally done. After 96 tracks, it's basically impossible for this to not be the best selection in the series. Yes, there's a few mediocre courses here, and some of the visuals suck for the booster course pass, but there's 90 other pretty good to amazing ones. Although it would have been extremely cool to just get one last cup, one final cup to bump the course count up to 100. Imagine slapping that on a game case. 100 courses. Now I'm just getting greedy, but where's Piranha Plant Pipeline from Mario Kart Tour? Seriously guys, it's the only tour course to not be added here, so it might get lost when Tour inevitably shuts down. That is so annoying. It's a course I want to play, but I don't want to play Mario Kart Tour because I'm never going to be guaranteed to be able to play that course because of the way the courses cycle out. I don't like Mario Kart Tour. I just want to play all the content whenever I want. I don't want to have to wait every 2 weeks and hope and pray that they bring back the courses or characters I want. I need to make another Mario Kart Tour video where I complain about it somewhere because I don't like that game. It's not my least favorite Mario game. That honor goes to Super Mario Bros. 2, The Lost Levels. That game is garbage. The controls are good, definitely the best so far, although, and I'm gonna blame Mario Kart World for this, the controls do feel a little bit stiff after not playing the game for a good while. But again, I'm blaming World because that game's controls are even better. The battle mode differs between the different versions. In the Wii U version, it's absolutely atrocious. Just balloon battle and coin runners with no dedicated maps for battle mode. Just recycled racetracks. Moo Moo Meadows was not made for this at all, so it just doesn't feel right. It's so cramped and awkward. And 8 Deluxe is so much better. I mean, that was one of the selling points initially. All of the DLC from base Mario Kart 8 preloaded, some new characters, and a completely reworked battle mode. It's even on the back cover. We have 5 different game modes to choose from: the standard balloon battle and coin runners, Shine Thief and Bomb Blaster back from Double Dash, and there's a brand new one, Renegade Roundup. It's a game of cops and robbers, which is really cool. I also like Bomb Blast a lot, although it's literally just balloon battle with bombs only. This is probably my favorite battle mode in the series, just a ton of variety in the different modes and all feel warranted. My only minor nitpick here are the maps. They're all good, but most of the new ones are clearly just built off of pre-existing tracks from the racing mode, and that's fine. You know, it's called being resourceful. I just wish there were more if that's what they're gonna do. 8 is an okay amount, it gets the job done, but I feel like adding 4 more wouldn't have killed them. 2 more new, 2 more classic. Mario Kart 8's items are pretty good. Obviously green and red shells, mushrooms, bananas, triples of those, golden mushrooms, spiny shells, bullet bills, bloopers, stars, lightning, bombs, you know, the classics. The new items are where things actually kind of get interesting. The boomerang flower from 3D Land is a fun addition. It lets you throw it 3 times, forwards or backwards, and you have more opportunities to hit people because, like you'd expect from a boomerang, it does the boomerang thing and comes back towards you. The potted piranha plant from 3D World bites other racers and can destroy some items, and just mashing the button causes you to gain some extra speed. The Crazy 8, it's just the Lucky 7 again but with a coin. That's dumb. And the Super Horn sends out a shockwave, causing opponents to spin out, and it also destroys most items. But that's not exactly what it's known for. It can destroy the blue shell. It's insane that there's finally an item designed to counteract that item. For 8 Deluxe, it doesn't introduce any new items, it just brings back 2 older ones. The Boo-Hoo functions exactly the same, basically, and the feather from Super Mario Kart for some reason. And the feather is only usable in battle mode, which I find odd. Yeah, it wouldn't really help you much in actual races since the courses weren't designed with it in mind, but why not? For the other modes, we have, guess what? Versus and time trials. Wow. And I'm finally done with this game after I don't even know how long. This is 100% my favorite Mario Kart, at least 8 Deluxe is. And it honestly is going to take a lot to top it because there's just so much content, even though some of it is bad, like Sky High Sunday. But the remaining content is just so good in my opinion, and there's a lot of it. Now all I have to do is get this game to stop thinking Sky High Sunday is my favorite track. We have finally made it. Mario Kart World, the latest entry in the Mario Kart series. It's still kinda weird to me to not be saying that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the latest, but here we are. Mario Kart World released on June 5th, 2025 as a launch title for the Nintendo Switch 2. And yeah, that makes sense. Mario Kart is the biggest Nintendo series by far. This is actually the first time a Mario Kart game was a launch title, which I find interesting. You would have thought it would happen before, but no, especially considering how big of a moneymaker it is. Speaking of money, alright, let's address the elephant in the room. Why is this game $80? Seriously, there is nothing in this game that justifies this price in my opinion, but I do think it's worth the $50 that it cost in the bundle though, and that's all I'll say about the pricing stuff. It's bad, it's ridiculous, it's overpriced, but it's like beating a completely unrecognizable dead horse at this point. I think we all get it. There's nothing more that I can add that'll change the conversation at all. So let's talk about the game itself. I really enjoy the art style they went for this time around. All of the characters use a more classic look that's very similar to Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which I like. It's not mind-blowingly different or anything, but it still looks really good. I really like the box art. It's definitely a little bit crowded, but that fits with how this game is. This is probably the most character per square inch on any Mario box art so far. Donkey Kong eating a burger on the cover? It's beautiful. Oh yeah, new DK design. I'll get to that later in the character section, which is, right now. Mario Kart World features a pretty large roster of characters with the absolute worst user interface. Why is it like this? There's 50 characters to choose from, which is the most out of any Mario Kart game thus far. And a good majority of them are actually new to the series, which is really cool. The only problem is that a lot of them, and I mean a lot of them, are characters like Sidestepper, Stingbee, and Fishbone. It's honestly a little bit disappointing that there's so many of these things in the game, especially since they're the only new characters. Everybody else has been in a Mario Kart before. These random nobodies are referred to as NPC drivers, and I like them, sure, but I just wish there were more actual characters. Although overall the roster is fine, every single staple is here and accounted for. No major missing characters. Unlike in Mario Kart 7, yes, I'm still salty about that. DK's new, weird mix design. Yeah, I've definitely come around a lot to this one, since it was originally spotted in the Switch 2 reveal trailer back in January. He's just way more expressive this time around. If you look at him in Mario Kart 8, he looks kinda creepy. The karts go back to their roots this time around. No more customization. Kind of. You can't change the wheels or glider anymore, which was kind of disappointing at first, but then I remember how little the customization actually did and I got over it. You can unlock stickers in the game that you can add to your cart. You can collect stickers in the game that you add to your cart, although you can only have one at a time and you can barely see them on most of them. Neat. So the character roster could use some work, especially with the layout. Like, why are alternate costumes not in a sub menu? Why do I have to press a button to sort them in an order that makes sense every single time? I think the roster is fine. It has almost all of the essentials you could want, as well as a ton of funny random nobodies. I'm really curious as to who they add in DLC though. Hopefully more funny random nobodies, but actual characters too, please. There's 30 courses in the game. Wow, that's fewer than Mario Kart DS. I don't understand why they did this. I guess their excuse is that there's an endless amount of route courses, which I'll be referring to as intermissions from this point forward, because I don't know how to pronounce that word correctly, and somebody will get mad at me. Basically, during the Grand Prix now, instead of you doing 3 laps and then the game immediately cutting to the next course, you have to drive to it. Once you reach the course, you do 1 lap and that's it. It's a really cool idea in concept, but in execution, I don't hate the intermissions as much as seemingly everybody else does. They're just kind of boring when you compare them to the real tracks. When I talk about the courses, I'll just be talking about their versus mode versions where you actually get to do 3 laps. The first course in the game and the start of the Mushroom Cup is Mario Bros. Circuit. It has a very different aesthetic than the other circuit courses. Instead of a generic race course, it takes place in the middle of a desert. And it does a pretty good job at being a first course. Not spectacular or anything, as it doesn't really showcase any of the new gimmicks outside of rail grinding, but it's still pretty good. Crown City is a very generic and standard city course, but I like it a lot for some reason. Each lap is completely different in a way similar to the city courses from the Booster Course Pass. There isn't much to say about it though, as it is just a city course. Whistle Stop Summit is a very good course in my opinion, and is actually a showcase of one of the gimmicks, rail grinding. Rails are basically all over this track, which gives you a ton of opportunities to do that gimmick. And I like the train mountain theming as well. It really fits with all the rails everywhere. And the cup ends with DK DK Spaceport, a really cool idea for a track being based on the first level of the arcade Donkey Kong. In concept, this is awesome. In practice, it's still good, but it just does not make for that interesting of a course design, unfortunately. It's mainly just straight lines with a handful of turns. Each level offers something unique so that it's still fun, just not as fun as it could be with a more unique layout. Although that would have been impossible if they wanted to stick to the DK arcade theming though. But I like the giant Robo DK. The Flower Cup is entirely made up of retro courses this time around, which means, just like the regular Mario Kart 8 DLC, they just mix and match new courses and retros in the same cup. I still don't know how to feel about this. It literally does not matter at all, but I liked having that distinction. And it's even more lost now since it doesn't specify what console the original course is from. Again, it doesn't really matter, especially since the retro courses in this game are nearly unrecognizable in many instances. But like, what if I was being held at gunpoint and I needed to say what Mario Kart game Desert Hills is from to live, and all I've got is a Nintendo Switch 2 with Mario Kart World, and I've also lost my memories because I would have known regardless. I think I would die there probably, but you know. Speaking of Desert Hills, here's Desert Hills. It's fine, it's just a fairly generic desert track with not much going for it. Is that the Toko Toko enemy from Super Mario Land? And the flying variant, the Batadon? No way. That's a really cool thing to bring back, but the course itself is just kinda whatever. Shy Guy Bazaar from Mario Kart 7 is up next, and it's very similar to its old version. They added some rails up top, which is neat, but aside from that, yeah, it's just the same pretty solid course as it was before. N64 Wario Stadium. Guys, we did it. This is genuinely a humongous milestone. Every single Mario Kart 64 course is playable outside of that game. Finally, I don't need this anymore. And I definitely like this version better, although there was something charming about that old version. I think I just missed the repeating Wario heads on the wall. I've been thinking about changing my room decor to match it. The cup wraps up with DS Airship Fortress, and much like Shy Guy Bazaar, it's basically the exact same. I do like that the 05 was printed on the tower as a reference to when Mario Kart DS released. And I don't know if this was intentional at all, but it almost sort of looks like it says DS from a distance, and in mirror mode it looks like it says 20, how old Mario Kart DS was at the time of World's release. I might just be losing it though. I have been playing nothing but Mario Kart for that long. The Star Cup starts with DS DK Pass. Kinda weird we've got two DS courses back to back, but okay. And yeah, it's DK Pass. I really like this shortcut here though. Next up is Starview Peak, basically what Rosalina's Ice World should have been if it wasn't extremely mediocre. I like it, but I'm not the biggest fan of the water section. Sky High Sunday is next. Why? Of all of the tour courses to add, why Sky High Sunday? Why not Piranha Plant Pipeline, the only one that wasn't brought back in the booster course pass? Oh wait, this course is actually kind of good now. Yes, Sky High Sunday is actually pretty fun now with all of the new moveset additions. Like, what is this? That's amazing. The layout is still kind of bland, but it's good and a vast improvement over the original. And by the original, I mean the one in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe because I never played it in Mario Kart Tour. The cup ends with a major tone shift, also known as Wario Shipyard for Mario Kart 7. I find it incredibly odd that they decided to bring this course back out of all of the Mario Kart 7 ones, since it focuses extremely heavily on underwater driving, which was removed from this game. It's still a decent track, but I honestly prefer the original. Koopa Troopa Beach from Super Mario Kart fittingly starts the Shell Cup. I mean, it's not abysmal, it's just so boring. And because it's such a tiny track, you have to do 5 laps instead of 3 during versus races. I would have preferred N64 Koopa Beach, but I digress. Faraway Oasis is a really cool track taking place in a savanna area with animals running around. It's just a good track, not much to say. Next is Crown City. Again, yeah, due to the way this game is designed with the courses interconnecting it all, some repeat. And yes, it's technically a different layout of the track, but at the end of the day, it's the same location with the same music. It just comes off as incredibly lazy. Peach Stadium is a decent course though. Feels a lot like a spiritual successor to Mario Kart Stadium. I wonder why. Definitely a little bit on that generic side, but I still like it. Not every course can be as mind-blowing as Peach Beach from Mario Kart Double Dash, which starts the Banana Cup. And man, they really changed this track a ton. The first lap is basically the exact same as it was originally, but then lap 2 has a gliding section and lap 3 having a large water section. I really like when they do this. The only thing I'd like is for a classic mode or something where you can just do the original 3 laps. Salty Speedway is good, but a little bit too similar to Peach Beach in my opinion. It's a course based on Venice, Italy, which I really like. Honestly feels like something they would have done in Mario Kart Tour. Dino Jungle is next, and it feels almost identical, yet completely different at the exact same time. They changed the cave section from the original into a research lab, and I'm not sure whether I like it or not. I think I like it more, but at the same time, I'm not really sure. Definitely helps the course stand out a little bit though. The final course in the cup is the Great Question Mark Block Ruins. The Ruins theming by itself isn't new by any means, but I really enjoy the way they did it here. Basing a course entirely off of one of the most iconic symbols in the franchise is genius, and the course itself is pretty good too. Not only that, it probably has the most insane shortcut in the game. I can't do it. Cheep Falls is the first course in the Leaf Cup, and I wish I liked this one more than I do. I'm a big fan of autumn levels in Mario games, so this one should be right up my alley. But unfortunately, it just has way too much of the water driving that I'm not a fan of. I guess it is in the name, Cheep Falls, although it could have easily meant this. It's still a good course in my opinion, I just wish it was better. Dandelion Depths is cool, but I kinda honestly forget about it a lot. I think it's actually somewhat based on the Wooded Kingdom from Super Mario Odyssey apparently, but I could be wrong. So by that logic, it's my favorite course in the game. Not really, this course is just kind of unremarkable in my opinion. Not bad by any means, I would still call it good. I just forget about it for whatever reason. That's my fault. Boo Cinema is a really cool course that could have been so much more. I wish they did more with the movie screen section. Imagine dodging classic public domain movie monsters and stuff. Unfortunately, there's only a couple of turns on giant film reels. Not Instagram reels though. That would be a sight to behold. I really like Dry Bones Burnout. Basically a track based on that Mexican holiday that I won't try to pronounce because I'll butcher it somehow because I'm dumb. And I don't want people to make fun of me for that, so I'll just have them make fun of me for not even trying to pronounce it. The Lightning Cup starts off with Moo Moo Meadows again. Why? It barely feels any different from its version of Mario Kart 8, and I honestly think it looks worse here in some instances. The sunset really elevated that version, but here it depends entirely on the day and night cycle. It's still a fine course, but I really don't like that they brought this one back again already. I feel like Moo Moo Farm from Mario Kart 64 was way more deserving of an actual remake. Choco Mountain is back again too, although I'm way more okay with this one because it feels completely unrecognizable. It's built around a giant monster truck now for some reason. Neat. Toad's Factory from Mario Kart Wii is back after people wouldn't quit whining during the Booster Course Passes run. It feels basically the exact same, but now there's a rail towards the end. But that's about it. And Bowser's Castle ends the cup, which is weird. Usually Bowser's Castle would be the second to last in the final cup, but okay. Once again, I'm assuming that this is due to the open world. I mean, there's no way to connect Bowser's Castle to Rainbow Road, I guess. It's pretty cool. I really like this part where the ground makes you drive faster than normal. The Special Cup, the final cup of the game. Acorn Heights is the first course, and I like it, I guess. It's a fairly standard forest course with giant falling acorns near the end. Next is SNES Mario Circuit. Okay. They did something kind of cool here, though, and combined 3 of the 4 SNES circuits into one course, so each lap is one of the different tracks. Mario Circuit 4 got robbed, by the way. Although that's typical, I'm pretty sure they hate this track. Next is Peach Stadium. Again. Seriously, I wish they just made another course for this cup or made Peach Stadium be exclusive here and made another course for its place in the Shell Cup or something. Sure, it's got a unique layout here, but it just feels basically like the exact same course again. I think I would have been a little bit more okay with the course repeats if they had different music. For example, there's a Peach Stadium theme version 1 and a Peach Stadium theme version 2. And I know nothing about music, but maybe they could have used the same instruments and stuff and just made it different. I don't know. And of course, we end things off with Rainbow Road. Holy cow. This course feels like an apology for 8's mediocre Rainbow Road that was 10 years in the making. This course is one of, if not the longest in the series, and has 4 different sections, 5 if you count the intermission from Peach Stadium. Which, let me add, that while this is just a straight line, it really adds to the course in my opinion. It works as a great build-up, starting off pretty quiet and slow before the first section begins. Speaking of which, the first is a fairly standard Rainbow Road, the second is this water section, which is the worst part of the track in my opinion, but not bad by any means. Then there's a space station, which is a pretty neat callback to Mario Kart 8's Rainbow Road, and it even has a section near the end which is a reference to SNES Rainbow Road. It's even got the weird rainbow thwomps. Then you go back to a fairly standard Rainbow Road and a train flies by with all the NPCs from the previous courses. It's insane. And the space station is actually from DK Spaceport. Talk about foreshadowing. This is the best course in the game. I'm still going to complain a little bit. It's just far too easy in my opinion, although that's my only issue with it. Rainbow Road is usually supposed to be a final challenge for the player, but here it doesn't really do that. But I'm pretty sure that's not what they were going for. They wanted a more celebratory feel as opposed to the final challenge from the others. It has this feeling of we've made it this far. Honestly, it's a pretty close toss-up between 7 and World's Rainbow Road as to which I like more. It's very close. I know it's probably recency bias, but I don't care. The gameplay has changed a little bit here with some new additions and all, but it still feels like Mario Kart. The charge jump is exactly what it sounds like. You charge while driving in a straight line and then you jump. It's a really cool feature. You can chain this into wall riding, which again is exactly what it sounds like. You ride on the wall for a little bit. You can even jump off of the wall and do wall jump, which allows for some insane shortcuts. Rail grinding is pretty cool, that's all I have to say on that. They changed the glider to plane wings, but it still feels about the same. Underwater driving was axed, like I mentioned earlier, and it was replaced by essentially jet skis. I don't really like this change. It's not bad, but it feels off, and I just definitely prefer the underwater driving. My favorite new addition, and I'm not being that overdramatic, is the fact that you can trick multiple times in one jump. It literally does nothing at all. Like, you can spam as many tricks as you want. You won't get a better boost when you land, but I just like trying to see how many I can get at once. Speaking of tricking, you can basically do it off of anything now. Signposts, cars, fungi, etc. But yeah, it controls great for the most part, and the new additions are all almost phenomenal. This is probably the best feeling game in this series in terms of controls. Everything feels perfect. Except gliding, it still feels kind of wonky. This is battle mode in Mario Kart World. It sucks again, seriously? At least there's some dedicated battle map, but they're still trying to pass off regular race courses for battle maps. And there's once again only balloon battle and coin runner. I don't get it. One of the main selling points of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was fixing battle mode, yet they butchered it here again. I really hope they fix this with updates, but I'm not really expecting that to happen. Battle mode isn't my favorite by any means, but I still liked playing it from time to time, but I've barely touched it in Mario Kart World, which stinks. It's better than it is in Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, but that's not a high bar. A wet sock with a hole in it is better than Mario Kart 8 on Wii U's battle mode. I honestly found the item selection this time around to be just kinda whatever. Not bad, but just mediocre. All of the staples are here, every mushroom and shell you've come to expect, bullet bills, lightning, stars, coins, blooper, super horn, boo, feather, fire flower, ba-bomb, boomerang flower. Okay, maybe some of those aren't staples per se. The mega mushroom returns, which is kinda cool, but they got rid of the music for it for some reason. Semi-new items are the ice flower and hammer. I call them semi-new because they both appear in Mario Kart Tour, which isn't a mainline game, by the way. Nintendo said Mario Kart World would have been called Mario Kart 9 if not for the open world. This leads me to believe that Mario Kart Tour is not counted as Mario Kart 9, despite having some of its courses appear in the Booster Course Pass. Anyway, the truly new items here are the coin shell, a shell that leaves behind a trail of coins. Okay. The question mark block, mash the item button to punch it, releasing coins everywhere. Okay. The Kamek Orb transforms other racers into a random NPC driver and adds a related obstacle to the track. This one is kind of cool, but it also really annoys me. It should have 100% just been the Wonder Flower from Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Not only would that make perfect sense with it transforming characters and the course, but it also means that Kamek is back to not being a playable character. It must suck to be Kamek. And this was the only way to unlock the NPC racers initially. Just hope and pray that you get transformed into one that you don't have yet. But they did make it easier in an update where you just have to like find them on the open world and use the UFO to like abduct them or something. But I deserve a medal because I unlocked all of them before the update. Good for me. The last new item is the dash food. It's basically a worse mushroom that changes your character's costume. And again, this is the only way to unlock costumes, which is kind of annoying. It's overall a good selection, I just don't care for many of the new ones. My favorite would probably be the dash food, I guess, just because it introduces costumes, which is something I've wanted in a mainline Mario Kart game for a while. Justice for Kamek or something, I don't know, make that like a hashtag on like Twitter. The usual time trial and versus modes are here as expected, although I hate that I can't just play random tracks anymore in versus. The option is there, yes, but it's only the intermissions and they aren't truly going to be random because it has to connect to whatever the next course is. I guess I'll just close my eyes. Knockout Tour is one of the other main modes and it's pretty cool. It's basically what I thought the Grand Prix was going to be. One continuous race from one end of the map to the other, and there's various checkpoints along the way. And if you're below a certain placement, for example, if you're 15th and the gate says 12th, you're dead. It's really fun, I just wish there were more rallies. There's essentially an endless amount that they could do, but there's only 8. And I also like that the icons for the rallies mirror their respective cups though. The first of each are the mushroom and golden mushroom, and the third are the star and the moon, both celestial things. The other mode is free roam, and as the name implies, you just freely roam around the open world. In the marketing, they kind of made this sound like the main selling point, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like that. It's the namesake of the game, first of all, but it doesn't even have its own large button on the main menu. It's just the plus button over in the bottom right corner for some reason. There's a really clean transition from the CPU-controlled character driving randomly in the background to you actually controlling it, though. That's nice, I guess. Here's a controversial opinion, but I actually kinda sorta maybe like free roam. I know, it is objectively a very flawed mode, considering there's barely anything to do in it, but I don't care. I like freely driving around and trying to do stuff you probably aren't supposed to do. And when I said that there was nothing to do, I was lying. There's P-switches placed everywhere on the map that, when pressed, start a mission. Yes, they kind of brought back missions from Mario Kart DS. The problem here is that you can't really find ones you haven't done already unless you stumble across them randomly or use a guide. So it's a similar issue to the blue coins from Super Mario Sunshine, honestly. And whenever you complete a mission, you get a new sticker. It would have been cool if you unlocked carts or even characters through this, but I get why you don't. Not everybody wants to play the open world, I guess, you know? Also, I really wish there were boss missions like in DS, but what can you do? The other collectibles in this world are Peach medallions and question mark panels. Both also only give you stickers. One other major issue I have is that getting them all doesn't do anything, but there's just so many of all of them that I'm assuming they didn't expect most people to actually go out of their way to collect them all. But I still do like this mode, and the amount of music made for it is absurd. Nearly every single mainline Mario game got at least a few remixes that play randomly while driving. In addition to that, most Mario Kart tracks that weren't represented here as actual courses were given remixes, some with more than one. And because of that, this is easily the best soundtrack in the Mario Kart series, maybe in the entire Mario franchise, but I don't know. And that is Mario Kart World. For now. Like I said at the beginning of this section, this game is almost certainly far from done, and new content is essentially guaranteed to happen in the future. Hopefully sooner than later though. We all know Nintendo won't waste any opportunity to get as much money out of their consumers as possible. I like Mario Kart World. Yes, it has flaws like the price, the lack of interesting new characters, a bad battle mode, tons of baffling decisions all around, and the intermissions, I guess. But those aren't enough to ruin my enjoyment of the game. Far from it. That core Mario Kart gameplay here is just so good that it makes the major problems not really that big of a deal to me, except for the price. I think it's a really solid entry in the series and worth playing if you can get it for less than the MSRP. And it's honestly probably my second favorite in the series at this point, just ahead of Double Dash, but behind 8 Deluxe. I'm done. I never want to play Mario Kart ever again. So like right after I finished recording this segment, Nintendo decided to drop version 1.4.0. This adds a few good quality of life improvements. Custom items are back again, thank goodness. No idea why this wasn't here after being added to 8 Deluxe during the booster course pass, but okay. You can actually see the name of the music when it is playing now. Wow, took them long enough for that. And you can finally kind of adjust the volume of the music so it's actually hearable. Kind of, because it's only 2 settings, normal and louder. And it's really not that much louder, but I guess it's a slight improvement. There's a bunch of other little things that I don't feel like mentioning. Thanks, guys. Now it's time to address some unfinished business.